So today is our last DEIC meeting for the year. It is May 15th and we are starting at 4:15. What you all have in your folders, you have the meeting agenda. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of go over the agenda with you, because it's been a while since we've met, but just talk about things that we've reviewed. So I know Kenna, at our last meeting, she talked about the 2025 Comprehensive Needs Assessment, reviewing the policies, procedures, and the requirements, and basically, from that campus needs assessment, we create our district improvement plan. So then we talked about annual program evaluations. So we're doing that as well. State comp. We also talked about special programs, particularly the GT and the bilingual program. Currently, those two programs right now are under review. So we're collecting information on those two programs. And so once we collect the data for those two programs, we will come back. I'm assuming it'll be in August. We'll come back with the findings and we'll share that report with you guys at that time. So the TMISD Campus Needs Assessment, really we're going to do that at the beginning of the school year because you need the data from this past year. In a minute, we're going to look at the district improvement plan for the 24-25, and we're going to go through, last time y'all did goal 1. Today, we're going to review goal 2, and if we have time, goal 3. And really, they're pretty short, but we're going to review in terms of completion. You know, did we even get it started? Because if we didn't, that's something that we need to carry on for the next school year. So the campus needs assessment, there's a lot of information that we still need. Hello. Hi. So, and like I said, we don't have data for our STAR results. We don't have, the data for, there's a lot of missing pieces. Right now, we just wrapped up testing in the lower grades, the MAP testing. So we're kind of just collecting all that information. And so once we have all that information, we will come back at the beginning of the school year and we'll look, and that will basically determine what our needs are going to be for next school year. And then also next year, we'll be implementing new curriculum. So as we come back as a group, we'll think about what do teachers need, what are some strategies teachers will need in order to be successful in rolling out the implementation of Blue Bonnet for reading, Blue Bonnet for math in grades K through 8. There's also going to be a change next year at the middle school. Next year, it's House Bill 2425, where every school district has to offer a advanced math program, mathematics advanced program. And so next year, we're going to start that up at the middle school. So the way that is going to work, 6th grade will complete all of the 6th grade TEKS and part of 7th grade TEKS. And then they'll test on the STAR 6th grade. And then 7th grade, they'll finish all of the 7th grade TEKS, or they'll finish 7th grade TEKS and all of 8th grade TEKS, and they'll test 8th grade. And then when they're 8th graders, it's going to be called Algebra for All.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to be rolling that out next year. We'll start that. So next year will be the first group of 8th graders that will start Algebra for All. So that's going to change the way that we offer algebra at the high school. So it's all going to be now pushed down to the 8th grade. And so we'll see how that works, okay? But we definitely have to, that is not even a recommendation, it's a you shall. So it's time that we get on board with that. So we are doing that.
And excuse me, on the Blue Bonnet, it doesn't affect the middle school, or it does affect the middle school, the Blue Bonnet?
Yes, Blue Bonnet, middle school will be implementing Blue Bonnet next year for 6, 7, and actually Blue Bonnet goes up to algebra.
Okay.
So,
but it's only for the math and for the reading?
For the math and the reading.
Okay, so we're getting rid of Amplify?
Yes.
Okay.
We're, in a sense, the framework, the teaching framework is the same. A lot of the topics are the same, but what they did, and to be honest with you, Amplify came about like, what, 20, like post-COVID, right around that time. And so Texas bought the intellectual rights to Amplify, and they bought the intellectual rights to Eureka. And so over the years, with teacher input, it's kind of like evolved. And so what you have now is that, like, that evolution of going in and, revamping and modifying and making those tweaks. You now have what's called Bluebonnet. And that's been based on the feedback. Teachers are like, well, it's not star aligned. I agree, because Amplify really is national, and it was more Common Core. Some of the TEKs were not, they were covered, but it was like kind of touch and go. And for example would be third grade. You cover poetry in third grade, particularly for STAR, they need to know that. So Amplify didn't have a lot of poetry exposure. And from what I've heard, it's, even with the revamping, it still doesn't have enough, but it has more than what Amplify was offering. So, but the assessments are more star aligned. So I think teachers will be happy, because I know a lot of our teachers with Amplify, they were having to go in and rewrite the assessments. And it wasn't like they could go to a data bank and copy, paste, and, put on another Word document. They were actually having to go in and type in the information. And so that was time consuming for someone to do that. So Bluebonnet is more, it's 100%, TEKS aligned, and also it's more 2.0 star aligned. So we'll see. But the format's the same. You're still going through that internalization process. You're not having to plan. Teachers are not having to go and search for resources. Everything, it's all inclusive. Everything should be there. I'd like to also, with the committee and campus input and teacher input, they have, remember the TEKS resource system? Mm-hmm. Okay, we did away with that last year because we moved to Amplify, but they've also revamped that system as well. And so I think next year it might be smart for us to go back because it's going to have like the pacing guide. Everything's going to be kind of like geared towards Bluebonnet. So I think that'll be a good resource for our teachers. So that's in the making. So all of that information, everything that we're just talking about, we're going to need all that information for the beginning of the school year so that we can rewrite or revamp our district improvement plan. Okay, and so
Is the committee going to stay the same for
how
how's that gonna work?
long have y'all been here as a committee?
This
Okay.
is my first.
Okay. So
Two, maybe three?
Okay, yeah. So I need to go back and look at the bylaws of what we have for our D.E.I.C. I think it's like 2 years. So if you've been here 2 years, maybe it's you roll over and offer someone another rep from your campus. But I'd have to go back and look at the bylaws, and I will, when we get back in August, we can all start together as a group, and then we can go from there. So today, really, the main heart of today's meeting is to really go over goals 2 and goal 3. And so I've made copies so that you guys can write, and if there's any suggestions, you guys can add to that. The next thing on our agenda was number 4, review the beginning of the year PD plan. We actually don't have that, but I can talk about the process, what we've done. We met earlier, a couple of months ago. We had principals come in, we met with HR, central admin, and we're kind of already planning out the beginning of the year PD for our teachers. So we want to make, and so in that process, we talked about we want to make sure that we give teachers time in their classrooms. Another conversation that came up was, what do you call those, edu heroes? kind of like eliminating some of those. But we've talked about, so right now, we're kind of in the plans right now, working out our professional development for the beginning of the school year. We'd like to have that done before we go so that we can, start planning for that. And we really don't have much of a summer, it seems like this year. I mean, you know what I mean? Because I think we get out the last week of June, and then 4th of July, we're back by what, July 8th? July 8th or
The
9th?
week after that.
Huh?
July the 17th, right?
That's when kids come, like
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
I'm sorry.
16th, but we come back to
Yeah, we come back super early, and I think even before that, we have new teacher orientation as well. So it's gonna be like a blink, and we'll all be back together again. So we're working on that, so we'll get that out. I also want to talk about some of our grants,
July
The-
9th.
right? I'm telling you, it's like,
July 9th.
I think we have a longer.
Teachers are back to school, back to TM July 9th, and students back to school on the 16th.
Yes, I know. I know. So I will say that I ordered the Bluebonnet materials like in March, so I'm hoping that everything comes through. I did not wait. Number 5, reviewing some of our grants that we have for the district. We were awarded the LASSO Cycle 3, and within that LASSO Cycle 3, there were 2 grants that we were awarded. We were awarded the LASSO Planning RLA grant, and that one was $200,000. I wish it was all $200,000 that went to us. Unfortunately, half of it has to go to a provider. We will be working with E.S.C 2, and so just like we did with the math, we created a math framework of how we teach math in the district. That grant is going to help us write a framework for teaching RLA in the district K through 12. So I've already sent out principals, like anyone who wants to participate on that committee, teachers, admin, they've already sent me some names, so if you are not familiar with that and you want to participate, go talk to your principal. So we want them to participate. We're going to offer a stipend this coming school year because we're gonna add more work to it. We want our teachers that are on that committee to go back and kind of be like the campus rep and kind of like relay back all the information. And then also if we have any type of presentations that we want to share with our teachers, we want them to be able to do it. So next year, those committee members will be receiving a stipend for participating. Then we also got the LASSO implementation grant for math, only for the middle school. Because this year, we're wrapping up the math implementation for K-5. And we've been working with Great Minds. So for 2 years, we've been working with them. This past year, they came multiple times. They would come and conduct walkthroughs in our classrooms, making sure that we're using the curriculum with fidelity. And let me tell you, the teachers are doing a great job. I mean, really, there's been a tremendous amount of growth with them actually using the curriculum. And so this year, we're gonna switch over to middle school. And so we're gonna be working with Carnegie for the Eureka. So they're kind of like part of one of the providers. And so we'll have Carnegie, they'll have like, what do you call it? Not a consultant. They will have a consultant, but they'll also have someone that will come and provide PD. I know last year at the primary, Great Minds, they had consultants, and she would actually go in the classroom and do some modeling. And so I got some emails, teachers were saying, hey, that was like the best thing ever. And I know teachers you guys are brilliant, but to read it, we want to see it in action. You know what I mean? Let's make this come alive.
That's me. I need to see it
Okay.
happening.
Like I need those little action,
Yeah.
action, take one.
That's always me. I need to see it, please.
I want to see it in action. I'm a visual person, I can read it and I can think what it might look like, but I just want to see it, what does it look like? So I'm excited because I think, middle school too, you guys have done a great job, with the Amplify and everyone just embracing that Eureka, not Eureka, but Carnegie, you've done a great job with that. Then we also have the EAF grant, and that stands for the Effective Administrator Framework Counseling Grant. And what that grant aims to do is really to help our counselors get in compliance with procedures and policy. They have that 80-20 rule. And so really, and it's kind of like, there's all these little checkpoints along the way that we have to be able to do. We also have the P-TECH grant, and next year, which is under welding, but next year we want to add cosmetology. And we also want to add the health science to that as well. So we're expanding there. Then we also have the early college high school grant. And this year is just the planning year, but we also want to apply next year for the implementation. So usually the planning is where you kind of create your website, you kind of create your the norms, like how you're going to roll this out, and then your implementation is you start rolling it out. So we want to do that next year, so we'll apply for that. And if we are awarded that, no, that's another grant. eSchool. eSchool's another grant that we want to apply for. And if we're awarded the eSport grant, they want to purchase an eSport drone program. And so if we have that program, then we'll be able to compete, in the state and at national levels. So we have a lot of grants.
I'm the esports coach for that, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So cool.
The esports grant that that we applied for, it'll cover team sport, team building, some field trips like that. It'll also bring in perhaps a few professional esporters to, like, not just, because it's a primarily male-dominated field, but we'll also bring in a few girls that are esporters to show some of our girls, hey, this can be a girl thing too. The drones are coming up really big. And with the drones, they also get their pilot license.
Wow.
And it's a Skills USA thing as well. And it's going off the chart. It is something that I might be able to pull in one of our other CTE teachers in. He was like, I'm interested, but what do I have to do? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
What's the catch?
I'm on the hook. Okay, I'm slowly gonna reel him in.
What is it that they're doing
But-
like I know what a drone is, that's
Yes.
about it. So what do
With
they
the kids, they will get, it'll all be in pieces. So the kids will have to build the drones to certain specifications. Then they will have to code the drones. Then they will have to race the drones. All of this, and they only have a certain time frame to do it in. And then they not only have to learn how to code it, they have to learn how to maneuver it and all around that. And then part of this kit that this esports grant will cover is they give us an obstacle course. It's kind of like inflatables.
Yeah.
So like bouncy castle, because the way it was described to me, the guy was like, it's like bouncy castles, but for drones. So if the drone hits it, it won't hurt the obstacle portion or the drone itself. So that's all good. But they have to maneuver around all of that. And then you have an official come in, and they come in and they, kind of look and so forth. You can do it via Zoom if you need to and all of that. And then you get a hold of people around the area that are doing it. Del Mar has it. So, yeah.
I had no idea.
Coastal Bend College has it. Del Mar has it, and I think TMOCC is starting up one next year, and we're already in collaboration with all of them.
That's awesome.
So, it's going to be really big.
Is it like a spinoff from robotics, maybe? Because
It's more leaning less from robotics. It's more of just a spinoff from esports itself.
okay.
So, yeah, it's very competitive, though.
Okay.
Very
What
competitive.
kind of careers does that lead to?
Unmanned drone pilots. The military really watches these competitions because they're like, oh. And they don't have to join the military to get a job with the military. They can be civilian contractors, and then they get all the benefits without having to sign their life away to the military. So, and
They
if
also
the,
use it for surveys and like
Yes.
land management and, crop management, all the stuff that, that you can get a bird's eye view of rapidly than actually having to walk out and do something.
That's neat.
yes,
That is cool.
yeah.
I just hear the weird stuff on the news about them. I didn't.
Yeah. I'm excited. That's
really
So
cool.
we're really, really hoping for getting awarded, but it's
When
pretty
will we
stiff
find out,
competition.
do you know?
That part I don't know. Ms. Moody would know that, but
That's really neat.
That is exciting. How
I
long did you
think
apply?
we find out sometime this summer. Fingers
Okay.
crossed.
That's
But,
good, I hope so.
Yeah.
Is anyone in this area doing it? Does anyone have the grant?
As far as I know, I think we're the only one in our immediate area.
Okay, region 2.
Yeah, in Region 2, but
Okay.
we are going up against all the other regions. So it's like,
That's okay.
I think Flower Bluff has a drone class.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know if they've applied for the grant, but I do know that they do
Had it
have
for a while, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's pretty
So-
cool.
That is cool.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. And we can get more girls into it, that would be cool.
bit more diversity, but yeah.
Okay, so the next part of our meeting is really the heart of our meeting for today, and that's to look at the district improvement plan. And so I think I have enough copies for everyone here. Now, you can work solo, you can work with a partner.
And you want us to write on these?
Yes, I made copies so that you guys can write on this. So I kind of like stapled this by section, so it'd kind of be easier for you guys to navigate through it. The very first part of it is really, if you take off the clip, the very first stack that's stapled together, that's your district, well, that's not your district improvement, but it's part of it. That's where the campus needs assessment, all that information is in there. You have a narrative about our demographics, you have the narrative about what our priorities, so all that's in that first section that's stapled together. The next stapled handout is goal number 1. So if you notice, you see goal number 1, you guys already, y'all in mid-year, y'all came together and y'all kind of went through and y'all looked at the, y'all were rating to see where we're at. No progress accomplished. What's the next one? Continue, modify, or discontinue. So y'all worked on goal 1. The next, you should have a yellow tab. That's goal 2. And so that's the one that you're going to look at, review, and you're going to read each strategy and either make some comments. You have it?
What tab are you talking about?
The yellow, do you have a yellow tab on yours?
No.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, no, it's fine. I just, this, we're on.
Yes, goal
Okay.
number 2.
Okay.
I didn't put a tab
That's
on
okay.
that one. It was probably, I'm like, I was like on it. Everyone's like flowing, going along with it. So tab 2 is that is goal 2. So you're gonna go through those strategies and you're going to either make some suggestions or if you're like, I don't see any evidence of this, happening in our district, then please make that note on there.
Like, do we see the first one?
Let me see, what's the first one? Benefits and compensation plan.
That's the
That's when, at the very
health
beginning.
insurance and the Blue Cross Blue
Yes,
Shield and all of that.
Yeah, which is just very compliance. Or if you don't say, we only get it like at the beginning of the school year. Be honest, you know what I mean? Like, there's really,
We get it at the beginning of the school year, but I mean, the
but that's
prices
it. Yeah.
keep going up.
And put that in there, or it's just at the beginning of the year and then we don't hear anything about it till the next school year. You know what I mean? There are no names, you're not putting your names on here, so it's fine. And so
Oh, gosh.
you should have a green tab, those of you that do have a green tab.
I have a scavenger hunt.
I know,
one.
she's-
Scavenger
yeah.
hunt edition.
The green tab is goal 3. And so goal 3, again, you're just going through all those strategies for goal 3. And you're just basically rating, we're not even mid-year, we're just gonna go to, all the way straight to May and evaluate where we're at. And like I said, if it's something that, this is the first time I'm seeing this, then put it, because to be honest with you, if that's the response that we're getting, that means at this level, we need to do a better job of communicating. So that's also like, it's evaluating our communication piece as well. So we need to know that so that we can improve in that area.
For this one?
Yes, goal 3. Okay, so you have your strategy, and then the strategy for number 1, Department of Student and Family Health Services. Do you know any of those services that we offer? And I'll be honest with you, these strategies next year, we want to revamp them and make them more like SMART goals. Because right now, if you look at them, they're very just kind of generic, and they don't really give a lot of information. And it's really hard to evaluate the progress of where you're at. Like we can say, next year, 100% of our employees in the district will be familiar with our wellness and benefit plans through surveys conducted throughout the year.
Right.
And so we might do one survey at the beginning, and then we can do another survey at the end based on our goals and see if there's been some sort of improvement of awareness. And then we can actually go back and say, okay, the beginning of the school year, 10% of our staff and employees knew about what we offered. At the end of the school year, 75% of our staff were aware of, the wellness and benefits that we offered in our district. So that's how we want to also make some changes next year, is make them more SMART goal oriented, so that we can really measure progress. Because right now, the way you're reading them,
It's hard.
it's very
How do you measure it?
hard. I mean, it's just hard to measure, like, well, I don't know what I'm measuring, So make some comments. If y'all want to let's take a vote. Do y'all want to do this independently on your own, read it, or do you want to do it together and?
I vote together.
Yeah, me too, because I have no idea what we're doing.
I vote together.
Okay, you want to work together?
Yes.
Okay, all together?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so
Knock it out.
goal number 1, benefits and compensation plan, strategy. Benefits and
I thought
compensation.
wait,
We're goal number 2.
okay.
Okay. So our objective here is strategic compensation plan. Ensure a competitive salary and progressive pay scale commiserates to Region 2 districts. So what are your thoughts?
We only see it at the beginning of the year, and then the prices keep going up, and the coverage either stays the same or decreases.
The coverage keeps decreasing and the price keeps going higher.
Okay,
Wait,
I
hold on.
don't like our,
I'm gonna
Talking
have
about
right here,
tell you right now.
our salary.
Salary.
And progressive pay scale commiserates to Region 2. So I'm gonna write that. We're gonna use Ledesma as, I'm gonna generate responses from you guys, and I will make those, I'll jot those down. Okay, so we said,
only,
The benefits keep declining.
Yes.
What they cover keeps getting worse.
but the
And
pay,
the pay keeps going up when it should be. Pay
Well, the
goes
cost
up.
of
the cost keeps going
Yeah,
up.
the
cost of
premiums, they
those,
offset each other.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I have like eczema, okay, so I had to go to the doctor to get a cream. Let me tell you, they're still like deciding whether they want to cover, I'm like, it's just a rash. You know what I mean?
Yes, because the insurance companies are
I know.
acting as doctors when they are.
But they're not doctors. I'm thinking, it's just a rash. Why can't I just get my meds? You know what I mean? It's like, and you're right, you pay more, and it's like, so,
Yes, and I also want to comment because I am diabetic, my A1C is high, and even even though Manjaro and what's the other one, is Ozempic is covered, you have to get pre-auth, and then when you get the pre-auth, you still have to pay over $1,000 a month out of pocket before your insurance hits it. And then, like she was saying, our Blue Cross Blue Shield, our premiums are high. I mean, I'm glad to have insurance, but it's expensive, and then on top of that, you have to pay $1,000 a month for a Mounjaro or a Ozempic, and then that's out of pocket before and then you have to get your out of pocket, and then the insurance will cover a percentage.
Yeah,
And then it's not even worth, like,
yeah, I know.
really.
I'm still waiting, it's like on 2 months now, so I'm like,
It's a tough choice, like me personally, I mean, it doesn't benefit us to pay for insurance at all.
Yes.
It's cheaper for us to pay out of pocket when we go to the doctor and for prescriptions, it's cheaper than using the actual insurance, but it's
It is.
kind of if I end up in the hospital, that's where it's
yeah, yeah.
not the kind of thing you want to play Russian roulette with, but
Yes, I know.
it's just the cost is astronomical.
Yeah, and I think our district is trying to get the cost down for us. I know, because they know it too, and, you know, so they're doing their best
This is
to.
state funding.
Yeah.
At my other district, we didn't go through, whatever it is, through the state. We had a private insurance, and it was so cheap. And, I mean, mind you, it was several years ago, because I've been here for like 3, right? But it was so cheap. It was a private insurance. We barely paid anything, and it covered so much. And our district even put in like $400, and it was like, man, this is
Wow.
good insurance. And then I come here, and it's whatever it is to the
Yeah.
state, I don't care.
Mhm.
And it's horrible.
I know.
And it's like,
But I think it's like that everywhere. My previous district, it was great for a while, and then, you know, then we went to self-insured, and then it was great for a year. The honeymoon was over, the second year. I mean, the insurance was like, some people were like, it's like almost the cost of my mortgage, you know what I mean? So it was just, but I think it's just everywhere.
It is everywhere. You know, I work for a hospital, and the hospital just told us already that that we're gonna get less and pay more
I
in a
know,
hospital setting that I
I
would
know.
work in.
I know. So, but we're working on that, so it's a work in progress. Okay, so,
As far as like the, talking about comparing it to Region 2 districts, I'm like,
I think that would be more like, I think we can put our give input, but that'd probably be like HR, where they would have to go and
Right.
and compare with
Right.
all the different regions, and so I would say that's definitely a work in progress, and more, and we can get some information from HR. Strategy number 2, the teacher incentive allotment. I can definitely talk from that. That is me. We wrapped up year 2. Hi, hallelujah, I'm so happy. Everyone did a great job. We did our the beginning of the year assessments. We just wrapped up our end of the year assessments. All of our evaluations have been turned in. So now we're just waiting on looking at student growth. And then once we have all this data, again, we're gonna repeat that same process, upload it in this massive Excel spreadsheet, and send the data off to Texas Tech. And we don't mess with it. We don't tamper. We just collect, enter, and then we send it off, and then we will get our notification whether our data was validated or not sometime next year in February. But phase 1 was successful. We'll be having our celebration on Monday to recognize those teachers that were designated for the 23-24 school year on that data. So next year is going to be a beast because we're moving into phase 3. We are including all of our CTE courses and all of our non-STAR EOC tested areas. So there's going to be a lot of pre and post. The district, with the help of teachers, we will help create and maybe outside sources like content experts in that grade level and that content, help develop assessments for that. And then like our CTE, courses, they use, what is it, ICEV?
Not everybody,
Not everybody, so we're gonna be using that.
for some, for like maybe
some.
2 or 3.
And then the other ones will be based on their IBC certification. So there's gonna be a lot of different student growth measures being used next year. But next year, I think, I'm telling you, when I was redoing the application, we've added a lot, like 41.
Like with my class, I do the programming. At the start of the year, I just go, hi, welcome to my class. Here, take the Unity test. And they're gonna go, and freak out. Which, yeah,
Yeah.
understandable, because if they've never done it before, never seen it before, they're gonna go, oh my gosh. And then I'm gonna go, okay, now take a breath and breathe. Now let me show you how to do all the stuff that you just looked at and your brain went, and freak out. And then at the end of the year, then I have them test, and hopefully I've taught them well enough that they can pass it and get their certification.
So next year, and if we get through next year, then we should be a fully approved TIA system. So it's like in phases. So we're working through those phases. And we also have a committee. So these are not decisions made by one person. These are decisions that are made collaboratively. And so we have those discussions. And we met this year towards the end because we had to turn in our application in April. And so we all came together and we had those conversations about what we wanted. And then we also had we also talked about SPED because EOC, there's the transition table, and so what we're looking for is a year's growth. But the STAR transition table also recognizes half a point as growth for the did not meet, but they did not meet high, and then last year, but this year they did not meet high again. So it's just based on if they see growth, they're recognizing that. So what we decided to do, the committee decided to say, you know what? Let's recognize that half a point if the student is special ed or if the student is an ELL student, an ESL student. Because think about it, a SPED student is having to take a STAR test and they have modifications, they're not on grade level. So we're saying if there's that half a point growth, let's give them credit for that. And then also for our ESL kids. Sometimes you have those monolinguals and, they're just kind of thrown in there and they have to take. So we made those are some changes that we made for this coming school year. And that'll apply for everyone. All of the Phase 1 teachers, Phase 2 teachers, and as well as our Phase 3 teachers. So that's one of the, some of the biggest changes that we're making next year. So I would say that we successfully completed. We did. I mean, we captured all the data. We just don't know what the outcome or the results will be for that one. So I'm going to just say we completed. Okay. Okay. Goal 2, invest in a high-quality staff. Performance objective 2, staff development. All student groups, including dyslexia, will be recipients of high-quality instructional techniques and strategies to increase student achievement and decrease the dropout rate as measured by meeting the literacy and math goals for Domain 1, student achievement. Okay, so strategy 1, we said ESC 2, Texas Lesson Study, meet or exceed literacy goal. And so if you're not familiar with that, when we were awarded when we started implementing Amplify and Eureka in the lower grades, we actually were recipients of a grant called the Texas Lesson Study. And so we had that grant for 2 years. This year, the grant ended. And so for 2 years, we've had consultants from the ESC2. They would come weekly. They would meet with our teachers, help them with, navigating through the new program curriculum, and then just, helping them unfold it. So I heard, at some campuses it was very successful, and some other campuses, or the other campus, not so much, okay? But that was one area of PD that we did provide for our teachers. So in terms of, did we provide?
Yes.
We did. And in terms of, did we benefit from that? I think
Yes.
we did. You know what I mean? I really
They
do.
were available weekly and pretty much as you needed them, you could call them and they would walk you through any part of it.
So I thought
It
they were,
was-
yeah,
I appreciated it when I was teaching math a lot.
yeah. So are y'all okay if we say we are fully, we've met that goal? Okay. The second one, HQIM, Amplify Professional Development, Middle School. Do we have anyone here for the middle school?
Me,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Which one should, are we on, the middle, the?
Strategy 2.
Okay.
You're right,
I-
they're very broad.
I personally, it was a little bit, like you said, a struggle at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
But it's actually, I feel that it's a pretty good curriculum. The only thing is that sometimes I do question some of the reading material.
Uh-huh.
We had the story Frankenstein, and in Frankenstein, it was a graphic novel, and some of the illustrations were not the best.
Uh-huh.
So that was a concern, but, as far as the middle school, I think the Amplified was pretty good.
Okay.
Besides those little
Yeah,
parts.
yes. Did y'all have PD? I can't remember.
We had PD, I think Gina had come at the
Oh,
beginning.
that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then this year we didn't see
And then Adicelli, y'all had Adicelli.
Okay, Sally, and then she moved to the primary.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think this year, y'all, the first year y'all had it, y'all did
Intermediate.
a pretty good job of, getting and understanding with Gina and Adicelli. And then this year, you guys were pretty much on your own.
Yes,
Okay.
Well, she's ours now, sorry.
Uh-huh,
No.
she's and then strategy 3, ESC 2, contracted services, EduHero compliances, comply with state. Yes, I think we all,
Yeah, that
I can
was,
say that is done, completed. Okay.
Do you know if we're gonna get Blue Bonnet PD for reading next year?
Uh,
Primary?
okay, so I was thinking with the literacy grant that we just got awarded through our LASSO, I'm looking at the funding to see if we can maybe provide that service for you guys. Because right now, they're not gonna do Texas Lesson Study again. What they're doing this year is the ESC 2 is offering these packages. And like, we'll come out to your campus like so many times and this is the cost. And so there's like it's kind of like when you take your picture, do you want, package A, B, C, D, or E? So it's kind of that thing right now. So what I want to do is look at our funding for that grant and then allocate it to all the different campuses equally as much as I can. And then maybe put you guys together and primary and intermediate and maybe do some training and have them come out and do that. But I was looking at that today to see if we can provide that additional support.
Intermediate has had to amplify, where primary hasn't had anything.
Exactly.
So is it still the same as amplify? Because if not, then they probably wouldn't.
We'll probably go ahead and just combine the two so that we can really align ourselves as, look at ourselves as one big campus and not two little islands. And then I think it'll also help with that vertical alignment as well, just kind of knowing what kids need to know and where they need to be. And then, of course, we're gonna have our instructional facilitators, and then next year, I wanna kind of revamp that position a little bit, where that's what they do. They study, the Bluebonnet lesson, for all grade levels, and they know it, the ins and outs. So that they can be more of a resource to that teacher. Like, if I need you to come and model for me, you already know the lesson. yes, I can come and model it for you. I want to go in that direction where they're more like in the classroom modeling. Or also looking for teachers, hey, you did a really good job. Let me go into your classroom and you can go model to your coworker next door. So kind of like take away some of those other responsibilities like MTSS, you know, all those other stuff, and just really have them focus on the curriculum to really say they're truly instructional facilitators and really helping our teachers. So they'll always have to be ahead of the game and in knowing, you know, the lessons and what's ahead, what's coming ahead, so that they can be able to go and deliver. Because that's what teachers want.
It's a positive change.
Yes, yes. And I think teachers, that'll maybe help with that frustration. Like, oh my God, here's another, I know it's very similar, but it's still another new program that we have to learn. So hope that'll lessen that, alleviate that one thing. Try to make it a little bit easier without having to add something else to their plate. Okay, so we're gonna stop here today. I talked to, because this, Kenna had a ball game, you know, so she's over there. So she's like, if you get through 2, great, and if you can get through 3, but it is 5 o'clock, so I want to honor your time. We did say our meeting was from 4 to 5. So we will be regrouping again in August. No, in August. Well, let's get through July 1st. And then, let's get through July. But I'll see you guys again. But thank you for participating in the D.E.I.C. committee for this school year. And if you want to take what's in your folder, please feel free to take out everything, including the tabs. The only thing we want to keep is the binder so that next year we can reuse those. But if you want to take all the inside content, please, you are more than welcome to take.
You said we're gonna be here in August though, right? Regardless.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I'll just wait till August.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll just
And I'll
wait
tell
until
Casey,
August.
we're gonna meet again as a group before we
That can be like on the agenda. Clean out your
Yes.
binder,
yes, I think that's good.
like we do with the kids. Clean out your binder now.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you guys again for coming. I know there's a lot going on, and I appreciate you guys taking the time.